Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming along this morning. Well, as of this morning, we have about 73 active fires across the state, but none are posing immediate threats. I'll let the Acting Commissioner go into the details of those active fires. But to put this in context, last year's fire season, the 2 weeks that we saw quite an intense level of activity in central Queensland, where we did have to evacuate the whole township of Gracemere. Some 540 community warnings were issued during that 2 week period. We have seen some 519 bushfire community warnings issued in the past 8 days. So that gives you a sense of what our firefighters and our Queensland Police service, frontline service workers have been facing over the last 8 days. So while last night was relatively calmer compared to Monday night and Tuesday morning, I have to say that there are literally hundreds of firefighters still out there fighting these active fires across our state. I'll let the State Disaster Coordinator go into the details of the damage assessment, but we have about 17 homes that have been destroyed throughout the state. Of course, we know that the national tally is somewhat higher because we do have a number of properties that have been destroyed in New South Wales as well, as they face their own challenging conditions. Now, while the next 2 days what might present a reprieve for our firefighters, they will be managing their fatigue, and I do want to thank personally and on behalf of the government all the other state jurisdictions who have come to our aid and who have offered up firefighters over the next couple of days so our Queensland firefighters can have a bit of a reprieve and get some rest. So while they are resting over the next couple of days, I do have to say that the conditions on Friday and Saturday and well into the middle of next week do present their own challenges. We are expecting temperatures of above about 5 to 6 degrees above average temperatures for this time of the year, starting on Friday and continuing to the middle of next week. As people know, that this will continue to dry out fuel loads right across the state, and any amount of wind during that period of time will see the bushfire warnings continue to increase across our state. So whilst the next couple of days might be much better than the last couple of days we've experienced, I have to say that the conditions will continue to worsen from Friday onwards. I'd now like to ask Bom to address you on the continuing weather conditions which we should be concerned about. Thank you, Richard.
Thank you, Acting Premier. I'd just like to reiterate the Acting Premier's point there that the conditions will worsen beginning on Friday as we see a warmer air mass move into the southern part of Queensland. As the Premier said, we are expecting to see temperatures 5 to 6 degrees above average for this time of year, so we're talking about low to mid 30s. And we actually expect on Monday, Tuesday, those temperatures in the southern interior to be about 5 to 8 degrees above average for this time of year. So that's the mid 30s. Coupled with winds, that's going to give us very high fire dangers. But in the shorter term, Wednesday today and tomorrow, we are going to see very high fire dangers remaining over northern and central interior in the Gulf region during the course of today. And those very high fire dangers are associated with very gusty southeasterly winds, very fresh winds through the northern part of Queensland. Further south, we do have presently high fire danger ratings over eastern districts south of the peninsula today. And that reduction is due to lighter winds and onshore winds bringing an increase in the humidity during today and tomorrow in those regions. We're expecting the fire danger ratings to ease during the course of Thursday with the more humid onshore flow and the winds generally easing as the high pressure system moves to the east, that's further south of us. So that's going to bring us those decreasing winds. But then when we come to Friday, as the acting Premier said, the concern really should be in everyone's minds that the fire danger ratings will increase to very high, and that's because of those increased temperatures. I suppose the good news is that even though we're going to see a southwesterly wind burst like we did over the past weekend, we're not expecting that to be as strong as we experienced over the past weekend, but still people should be mindful that we will see a return to those very high fire danger ratings on Friday and over the weekend. Thank you, Acting Premier.
Thank you, Acting Premier. Good morning. So as you've heard, we still have a significant number of fires throughout Queensland. But in saying that, none of those fires are currently having any new impacts on local communities. The fires of note that we've been speaking about, the Sarabah fire near Binnaburra, still burns in very inaccessible area, and that fire will continue to burn in very inaccessible area for some time yet. With the moderating conditions, that will give us some opportunity to consolidate some containment lines, but that will be a going fire for some time, and we'll continue to see smoke in that hinterland area for a long time yet, basically until we get some significant rainfall. We're working very closely with the community there. We're managing our fatigue of our firefighters and our local emergency services workers, but we're also working very closely with the council and the local community with respect to community fatigue as well. In respect to the Peregian fire, just an extraordinary effort by firefighters again yesterday to be able to contain that fire to where they have. That is still a going fire, but things are looking far better for that location. We've still got a lot of resources there, and the State Disaster Coordinator, I'm sure, will talk about the return of communities there, but from our perspective that's looking far, far better, and our aim is to really consolidate control lines and contain that fire before any increase in fire weather later on this week. All the other fires across the state, as you say, we've still got a number of fires in central Queensland, North Queensland and far North Queensland. None of those fires pose any immediate threat, and we're working very closely with the local community. We have hundreds of volunteer firefighters and our staff working on those fires as we speak and over coming days. For that reason, because of the spread of the fires, we have asked for interstate assistance. We've currently got 48 Victorian and South Australia firefighters and incident management team personnel coming in to support us today. And that's in effect replacing the 50 firefighters from New South Wales that have been with us in the past few days as well, and they'll be returning, finishing their duties today and then returning tomorrow, and that's been very much appreciated with the support from them. And we'll also have some Western Australian personnel also come in to support us. We have still thousands of our own resources and our own people that are well positioned to be able to manage the fires ahead of our very long fire season, but we are looking to our interstate counterparts to be able to assist us manage this longer term fire season. We've got this situation ahead of us for several months to go, and it's for that reason that we're sort of spreading the load, if you will, in terms of our current resources. But the fires are doing what we expected them to do, and conditions are looking good over the next couple of days, but we've still got a lot more work to do, and I'd like to see that number of fires be dropping down to around the 50 mark to make that a far better position for us in the coming days and weeks.
That was a look at the Queensland Emergency Services Media Conference nearly 24 hours ago. However, Bureau of Meteorology has 2 severe weather warnings in place, and we start off in the state of Victoria. Severe weather warning for damaging winds remains in place for the East Gippsland and North East, West, South Gippsland forecast districts. Gusty winds developing about the eastern ranges today. Strengthening north to northwesterly winds ahead of a cold front crossing Victoria during today. Damaging winds averaging 60 to 70 kilometres an hour, peak gusts of around 100 kilometres an hour possible about the eastern ranges above the 1200 metre elevation mark from mid-morning, mainly on the slopes with a northwesterly facing aspect The risk of damaging wind gusts is expected to ease later this afternoon following the passage of the cold front, and locations under the warning: Mount Bor Bor, Forest Creek, Mount Hotham and Mount Bodder. Meteorology also has in place a strong wind warning for the Port Phillip Bay, Western Port, the Central Coast, Central Gippsland, East Gippsland Coast, and the Bureau has cancelled the run for the West Coast. Now we'll switch down to Tasmania because that is where it's all happening. However, the Bureau of Meteorology has cancelled the severe weather warning for the Upper Duart Valley, Southeast, Northeast, East Coast and Midlands forecast districts. Strong gusty northwesterly winds have eased slightly ahead of a cold front to cross Tasmania during the morning. Severe weather is no longer occurring in Tasmania, which is interesting, especially when you look at the Doppler wind radar. In the last 6 months, in the last 6 hours, Hobart reported 113 kilometres an hour, the airport 106, Mount Wellington, Scotts Point and other locations in excess of 113 kilometres an hour. The Bureau has a gale wind warning for the Frederick Henry, Norfolk, Storm Bays, Lower East and Southeast Coast. Strong wind warning the Durham Estuary, the Channel, Central Plateau Lakes, Southwest Lakes, the far northwest, central north coast, Bank Strait, Franklin Sound, east of the Flinders Island, upper east, lower west and central west. And a similar warning will be in place for Friday. And here in Queensland, we have a strong wind warning, the Peninsula, Cooktown Coast, and they've cancelled the one for the North East Gulf of Carpentaria. New South Wales, strong wind warning for the Batemans and Eden Coast. Now we have a look at the Bureau of Meteorology's total forecast of rain across the forecast period.
You can follow Force 13's outlets, the website force13.com, our YouTube page youtube.com/Force13, on Facebook under the same name Force13, and our Twitter handle, it's @Force13 if you wish to get in touch. You can also add Force 13 on Skype and my personal account on Discord, Fool13, at extension 9094.